All right, this is question 2, part D of the 2017 NCEA 2 Algebra final. And we've got a question here which says, a teacher hired a school bus for $560 for a day trip with students. The cost of hiring the bus is to be shared equally. And at the last minute, 3 students were unable to go. As a result, the cost to those who did go was increased by $1.50. How many students finally went on the trip? So let's have a look at the original students that were going on the trip. We'll call them X, yeah? We'll say, we'll call this X. So X students we're talking about. So in other words, 560 divided by X would be the cost. Now, we're told later on, I'll put a comma here and then say, later on, we still had the same cost, which was 560, but this time, the cost has been increased by $1.50. There it is. Because the number of students had been reduced by 3. So let's go ahead and use simultaneous equations. I'm going to solve for x. X, of course, being the original number of students. Yeah. And when we get to the end, we're going to, assuming we can find x, we're going to subtract 3 off this number here. So let's let's go ahead and do that. But we're calculating the cost based on the original number of students. So the original number is x. We're removing 3 to find out the cost, given that it would be an extra $1.50. So let's rewrite this. So I'm going to make c equal to both of them. So I'm going to subtract $1.50 off this side. Subtract $1.50 off this side. So I've got c is equal to this and c equals this, which means that this thing here now is equal to all of this thing here. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've got 560 over x is equal to all of this thing here, which is 560 x minus 3 minus 1.5. All right. So what we'll do now is we'll sort this side out first. I'll put this over 1, and we're going to add these two things together. So we're going to have, I'll just cross multiply. So this times this is going to be, the denominator is going to be x minus 3 underneath, and this is going to be 1 lot of 560 minus 1.5 lots of x minus 3. And all of that, of course, is equal to 560 over x. So that implies that that's the case. All right, so that's all good. Now let's expand this out, see where we end up. So we've got 560 minus 1.5x, and 3 times 1.5 is 4.5. It's going to be a positive as well. There it is. All over x minus 3. Now, of course, I can just add these two together. So I've got 560 and 4.5 is going to be 564.5 minus 1.5x on x minus 3. And all that, of course, is equal to 560 over x. Oh, sorry, 560 over x. Let's not make it 560x. Just catching mistakes as I do them, which then there'll be a lot. Right. Okay, so now we can just cross multiply these two. In other words, we're going to multiply both sides by x minus 3. We're going to multiply both sides by x. I'm going to do it in one go simply by cross multiplying that to that. So this is now going to be 560 times x minus 3 is equal to x times all of this. So it's going to be x times 564.5 and then x times minus 1.5x. So what does that all come to? Well, this therefore will be 560x minus 560 times minus 3. Let's see, is going to be 560 times 3 is 1680. Minus 1680 is equal to x times this is going to be 564.5x minus, and this is going to be 1.5x squared. Okay, let's collect like terms a little bit by adding 1680 to both sides. So put plus 1680. And I'm going to subtract 560x off both sides, minus 560x. So the whole thing now is going to equal 0. So here it all is. So I've got 564.5 minus 560, which is just 4.5x. So let's write it in order, though. I'm going to have negative 1.5x squared. Let's write that first. So I'm going to have negative 1.5x squared. And I'm going to have 564 minus 560 is this 4.5. So it's going to be plus 4.5x. What else we got here? And we've got plus 1680 equals 0. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now, let's just go ahead and see if we can, assuming we made no mistakes there, go ahead and we're going to use the quadratic equation, quadratic formula rather. I'm going to cheat though. I'm just going to do it on the calculator, but you're going to use the quadratic formula when you do this. So let's have a look at doing that. So this is going to be, let's have a look. So menu, let's go choose the equation, and I've just thrown the numbers in here before to have a look. And what I actually did before, I actually just threw that. I made that a negative, made this a negative, made this a negative. I actually solved it using the quadratic formula, but I rather decided I was going to I originally tried to factorize it, and of course I couldn't factorize it, but I had to make this a positive in order to do that. So here we go. Let's have a look what we get. And we go solve, and when we solve, we get 35. Now, 35 is the number we want to look at. Ultimately, the answer will be a 32 of some sort, but we end up with 35. So x, I put either x is equal to 35 or x is equal to negative 32. Well, it can't be a negative number, but x is 35. Now, this is the original number. Remember, so put original number, number of students equals 35. I put less students not attending is 35 minus 3 equals 32 students on trip. And that's how I would do that. Now, you can do it another way. I actually had a peek at the answer, and I did it differently. The answer they did, they went x plus 3. In other words, they were actually saying, let's calculate for the students who went on the trip rather than looking at the students who were the original students and then subtracting 3. So I calculated this for the original number of students, and then I subtracted 3 based on the fact that 3 didn't go. So this is the original number of students. That's how I would do that, because that's what x is. X is the original number of students. If you want to do it based on the students that did go, then you were going to have to make this x plus 3 and mess around with this a little bit too. Anyway, that's what I would do, and that's how I would express the answer. Important, I think, to have a context statement of some sort at the end showing you know what you to do. By the way, the other thing, of course, with this is if they give you this much space to write your answer, you know you're going to have to do a little bit more. And you would be using the quadratic formula in order to solve for x here with the quadratic equation. Okay, hopefully that makes sense.